Tuesday at 8:30, which means one thing. We are the luckiest show in the entire state as we are joined by LSU head women's coach, the legend, Coach Kim Mulkey. Coach, what's going on? How are we doing this morning?
Well, I'm working while you guys are in New Orleans playing. Y'all
Yep.
act like there's some big something going on this weekend.
Yep, the grind never stops for you. For us, though, we get to come out here to the convention center, see all the madness as the football world descends upon the 504. I mean, I know you're no stranger to these sorts of events, given that you've been to countless Final Fours and national championships. This is my first Radio Row. I think it's pretty awesome. Coach, do you have any Super Bowl memories, like growing up, maybe going to? Do you have any Super Bowl memories that stand out in your mind?
Well, I don't have just one. I'm trying to think. I've never in person gone to a Super Bowl. I tried to, tell the SEC don't have our game with Tennessee leading into the Super Bowl because I knew they would for ratings. I knew they would. And so even if I wanted to come over there, there's no way I could make it because our game is at 3:00 that day.
Damn.
But I do watch the Super Bowl. I mean, I just, I go back to the Montana days with the 49ers and,
Yep.
Love that. And, if I tell you all the ones I like the most, then I'm really going to date myself.
What are the old school Niners teams? Is there anybody else that breaks through? What about a young Coach Mulkey growing up, little girl? Like, when did your sports consciousness come online?
My sports consciousness started sitting in the front of those old RCA TVs, that you turn the channel. But I was watching Nadia Comaneci in the Olympics when I was like 12 years old. And I thought, golly. And it just, I always watch sports. You can't help but talk about Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris and the reception.
Yep.
What they call it, the Immaculate Reception.
Yep. One of the best all-time plays.
And, of course, I watched O'Tilly all the time, not necessarily in the Super Bowl. Roger Carr, all those Louisiana Tech guys. And it just I love sports. And I'll rush home, hopefully, after a win because I won't enjoy it if we lose to Tennessee, which we can because they're very good. But I'll rush home and I'll watch it. And y'all just enjoy it, man. Eat some good po' boys while you're in New Orleans.
Yeah, honestly, Coach, I think I'm going to, for the game itself, it's my birthday. I just want to watch it at home with the family,
I know, because then you can get real and you can get fun and you can scream and holler. And if you don't really have an invested interest like a son playing or a brother or a dad, you probably will enjoy it. It's when you got connections where you just your stomach's in knots.
Well, okay, so I want to ask you about that then, and I'm sure like when you're watching someone, it can be that you have invested. It can almost feel a bit more helpless. But what about when you're coaching or playing in one of these championship games? What is your process like to kind of not make it? How do you handle the pressure?
You live in pressure. I crack up at these doctors when I had my heart issue or when I've got something going on, they go, oh, that's stress. And I'm like, I will never buy anything in my body or on my body is related to stress. My body knows nothing any different. And so it's not a thing that's any different than how you live your life every day. Being in sports or some of these jobs that are so stressful, that's what you choose to do. So, those guys that are in the Super Bowl and they do that every day. It's not any bigger in their world, even though it's more magnified by television and media. That's what they do every day.
Coach, what's more stressful for you? Coaching in a national championship game or watching Kramer in a big game?
Well, what it is, it's a love that's different. And it's not just your own kids. It's anybody that you love. You want them to know what that euphoric feeling is that you got to experience in your life as a player and as a coach. I cannot tell y'all when we won it at LSU and we won it at Baylor, my enjoyment is watching people celebrate for the first time. You can't describe it. And that's when my kids are playing, and I hope my grandkids, but whatever they do, you just want them to have that one moment in their life where they go, there's nothing like it.
That's kind of an amazing answer, Coach. I got goosebumps. I've never really considered that. It's almost like, you think about Christmas and when you give a gift that somebody really loves and how great that feels. That's like the ultimate realization of that.
It is.
That's incredible.
T-Bob, it really is. And people that know me, I'm a giver. I don't want people to know I give. I don't want people to know when I donate money. That's not it. But I take great pleasure in just surprising family members or sending something and won't even sign my name. That is so enjoyable for me.
Wow.
And I'm better at doing that than receiving. Like, people want to compliment you and say all these wonderful things. And I struggle with that. But I sure like giving. I like just giving you something that you didn't expect was going to happen. And some people are just different.
Coach, so to the basketball now. It was a pretty wild week since we last talked. It was a couple days before Oklahoma whiteout top 15 matchup. Knew it was going to be an incredible environment. Starts a little chippy. I gotta say, Coach, I think the referees were soft here. I mean, it's a push. The girl was a bit off balance. And then for the other girl to be ejected for the pushback, I don't know. I guess, you want to keep it under control. I say let him play, but whatever. The game gets crazy. There's that drama, people getting kicked out. You get teed up for looking at the scoreboard. There's the crazy comeback at the end. Were you exhausted by the end of Thursday night?
Yeah, I'm exhausted every game. But let me clarify the fighting rule. And if you'll remember back in the SEC tournament with Cardozo for South Carolina pushed Flagey, and I even said at the time, that's not a fight. That is a shoving match. But it is identified, at least it is in women's basketball, that will be considered a fight. So when they got ejected, I was not surprised. However, I think Coach Jenny for Oklahoma, being new in the league, she was like, that's not a fight. And I said, they consider that a fight. So we saw that. You saw 2 ejections. You saw each coach get technicals. You saw a flagrant upgraded. You saw another technical because there were 2 flops. You get 2 flops in a game, and they will give you a technical. You saw just about everything in a basketball game. And 107 to 100 points. I'm like, where's our defense, guys? But I'm not going to go in the locker room and really rehash that game. I did not show film of that game. We had to move on.
Oh, wow.
And that's unusual for me, but I felt like there would have been too many possibly negatives that would have been corrected and said, and I didn't want the atmosphere in the film room to be that way. I wanted to prepare for the next one, and we did.
Well, and to be fair, Coach, when you look at how your team responded the next game defensively, especially Flagey shutting down. Oh, I'm blanking on her name, but she had just dropped 40 the game before. Mississippi State's leading scorer to Flagey holds her to 9. You come back, you beat Mississippi State, a comfortable 81-67. What did your team show you in their defensive response after giving up the late Oklahoma surge and the 100 points?
Well, you go. What do you have? We had A&M, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, and 3 games at home, and the first priority is to take care of your home court, and we did that. Mm-hmm. Now, you're talking about Jordan. Jordan from Mississippi State is actually a New Orleans player, so we're very familiar with her. And I don't do social media, so when we went to the press conference, they were talking to Flagey about her defense and how good she played. Well, she just opened up and talked about how personal it was for her because I guess here we go again on social media. Some things were said about her being little 4 instead of big 4 after a loss. And so I just was laughing under my breath like, you know what? I might need to use this every game. I might just get somebody to do a fake post. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
And just get in Flagey's head so that she'll play defense like that.
Coach, do you find, and this is interesting to hear you talk about this, because when you think about Flagey, she's so famous, and of course, everybody wants to snipe at the queen, right? The top dog. That's just like human That's just kind of natural human instinct. Do you find that with your profile and how much you've dealt that in your life, like, do you find yourself as a great resource for these young women when it comes to handling all of that?
This is just the truth, guys. I don't have social media. And I think those kids, my players, see more crap about me than I even know's out there.
Yeah.
And I don't even know I don't address it because I don't know about it. And yet they stay on social media. And so when I get something, whether it's from Kramer or my daughter Mackenzie or my coaches, I just like, well, there's another lie. Well, there's another hater.
Keep it moving.
And so when I just like, I don't care. But I do think sometimes laying in bed, my poor little players, they read all that. But because we're with each other every day, because they know Kim Mulkey, I have to know that they've learned what's hate, what's fake news, what's whatever. So I don't even think about it.
Coach, I got to say, one of the funniest moments in the Oklahoma game was you getting fired up, slapping the clipboard down, Simone with the perfect comedic timing, not moving. Did y'all discuss the clipboard incident after the game?
Oh, well, it wasn't after the game, but certainly I love that child like she was my own. And I didn't realize I did that. I've done that to Johnny Derrick through the years, but what you make sure of, Simone is a legend. Simone is loved by everybody around the country and in Baton Rouge. And I made sure we had a conversation. You bet we did.
Oh man, I thought everybody played it perfectly. I could see, Coach, you were just fired up. But what had you so fired up at the time?
That's where I got my technical.
Yeah.
I got my technical, I think, from across the court, and Coach Bob jumped up, and I was going with him, and the clipboard was there. I had no clue. Simone, anybody else. It just was in my way, and I just popped it real hard. And I shouldn't have done that. It didn't look good. And looking back on it, I just wanted to make sure Simone was okay because it wasn't directed at Simone at all. Johnny Derrick and I had a conversation. He's my coach that retired, and he said, "Kim, you did that twice to me. You squeezed my legs before." It just happened just to be right there, and it looked bad. And I certainly, I wanted to make sure. And Simone and I, had a conversation. I love that child.
Well, there you go,
She's
guys.
not a child now. She's 40 years old, but nonetheless,
Legend, statue.
Yes, she is.
Well, you are as well, Coach. I mean, that's the craziest part. You're talking about two Hall of Famers on the bench every night for this Tiger basketball team. What a setup. And congratulations, another very successful week after we talked to you again. The massive win against Oklahoma Thursday. Come back, hold and serve against Mississippi State on Sunday. Now you got Mizzou hitting the road this Thursday. And then this Sunday, pack out the PMAC, 3 p.m. This very unique Tennessee team that runs these crazy styles of these almost hockey-esque shifts going to be in town. Best of luck this week, Coach.
Y'all behave. Don't get in any trouble in New Orleans. As my mama would say, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
If my father said that, I don't know how much that would mean. But your mother, I'm sure that's a much higher moral standard. You have a great day, Coach.